everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate ringsidenews.com. Got a lot of your questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift. More questions regarding Battleground and WWE's direction heading into SummerSlam. Let's get started with the first one today from Nick Lombardi 9. Hey Aaron, do you think it was a good idea for Kevin Owens to tap out? While I didn't think it was a good idea for him to lose at all, I think him tapping out was a disastrous move that could really hurt Kevin Owens' character. What do you think? I totally agree. I feel that it was a mistake for Owens to tap out. I think it would have been better if he passed out. I think it would have been better if John Cena's Super AA beat him. I think it would have been better if WWE just did an entirely different match at Battleground. Something like a crazy brawl where they're going all over the place, beating each other up, rather than a bunch of near falls in the same exact match that we saw the first two times. There are so many things I would have liked to have seen different in that match, and it didn't happen. It was what I ultimately expected, that WWE would have Owens win the first match, and then Cena, just like with Rusev, would go on to beat Kevin Owens multiple times, and Cena would end up winning the feud. Not a fan of it. If it was me, if Kevin Owens was going to lose to John Cena, if WWE was hell-bent on Cena winning the feud, I would have just done two matches. I would have had Kevin Owens win that first match, and then Cena would literally have to do everything in his power to convince Owens to do a rematch, and then eventually at SummerSlam, you'd have the rematch for the title, and Cena would win, and that would be the end of it, and just have him pin Kevin Owens. But that's not what WWE did. Got this question here from T. Fernora. Hey Aaron, where do you think Farmer Tan Owens goes from here after losing and tapping out to Cena at Battleground? Do you think that they should have a final match at SummerSlam? But to me, it seems unlikely, as WWE might do a champion versus champion match at SummerSlam. I feel that at this point, there's no need to do yet another John Cena versus Kevin Owens match. They could have had Owens beat Cena for the title at Battleground and then went on to do a fatal four-way match with Russo and Cesaro added to the mix. And at that point, you could have had somebody else take the fall and Cena would not have had to lose at SummerSlam. Once again, WWE didn't do that. They were hell-bent on protecting their franchise player, John Cena, and that's what they did. And now it looks like they're building up towards Cena versus Seth Rollins, champion versus champion at SummerSlam, and Kevin Owens is being put on the back burner. And I got this question here from Wrestling God 88, more about Kevin Owens. After Battleground, where does Kevin Owens go from here? On Raw, it looked as though he had very little direct. Well, absolutely. The fact that Kevin Owens was just one of those random guys trying to separate Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, that's not a good sign for his future, because WWE tends to keep the very top tier stars out of those type of segments where they're just random people in a big group. Cena wasn't out there, Randy Orton wasn't out there, but Kevin Owens was there, and it's unfortunate because Kevin Owens is going the same way as Rusev, the same way as Cesaro, the same way as Damien Sandow. Could end up being even worse than Sandow. The fact is, John Cena is their top tier guy and Kevin Owens isn't. Kevin Owens isn't a guy that WWE is going to be building the company around, and John Cena is. It's just the way it is in WWE. And I got this question here from Vic Venom Lives. Greetings, Aaron. What are your thoughts on the rumors of Kevin Owens being knocked down the card so soon and internal forces in WWE sabotaging his push? Are John Cena's t-shirts and Kevin Dunn really keeping a new star from reaching his full potential? I just look at Kevin Owens and I can see all the reasons why WWE would not want to push him, because of his weight, because of the fact that he has a farmer's tan. And I was critical about that when I was doing the Battleground coverage on Twitter. To me, I can just imagine Vince McMahon looking at the guy and saying, there's no way this guy is going over John Cena. With Kevin Owens, I feel that despite not having the traditional look that WWE likes, the guy is as talented as anybody in the WWE or anybody in the world for that matter. At some point, you have to start creating new stars. And WWE has gotten away with pushing the same people, John Cena, Randy Orton, and they get away with it because WWE is essentially a monopoly in the United States. And WWE has a very devout fan base, loyal fan base. They have the network where the pay-per-views are part of the $9.99 package. WWE is in a position where they can do whatever the hell they want, basically, and get away with it because they have that loyal fan base and people are just going to watch out of force of habit. But I talked about this in the previous video with the Undertaker situation. I feel that at some point it's going to come back to bite them. There's only so long that WWE can rely on the same guys. One of these days, they're going to be forced to make a change because Cena, one of these days, is going to either step away for a while. You have to imagine eventually he's going to get burned out and want to break. And who knows, he might end up getting injured. I mean, John Cena has been kind of like a real-life Superman, being able to come back from injuries and stay healthy. But one of these days, it's inevitable at the rate he's going, and he's getting older. One of these days, he's going to have a bad injury that he's not going to be able to come back from right away. And at that point, WWE is going to be forced to do something. And WWE very well could take a huge hit in business because instead of trying to build towards the future now, they're milking John Cena for as long as they absolutely can until it's too late. And at that point, they won't have any new stars, and they're going to be stuck for a while, and business could very well go down. I mean, you look at what happened in '92 with Hogan. When Hogan stepped away, WWE business tanked because they had no real top-tier superstar that they were grooming for the top spot before Hogan. I guess they tried with Sid, but that didn't really work out. But they were stuck. Once Hogan was gone, they had no real major superstar, and they had to build up somebody new. You know, they put the title on Bret Hart. But if they had built the next Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan was still there, maybe their business wouldn't have tanked as bad. All right, this one comes from Glowing One. Could Seth Rollins interfere with Brock Lesnar and Taker to prevent one of them from a clean loss at SummerSlam? Also, could you see a tag team match between the team of Undertaker and Sting versus Lesnar and maybe Triple H at SummerSlam or WrestleMania? Or are they too special to have in a tag team match? There's so many different things WWE could have done with Undertaker at SummerSlam, and I'm not a big fan of a screwjob finish at SummerSlam between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, even though realistically that's the best thing that they can do, because that way you would avoid having Undertaker get beat again, and you would avoid have Lesnar getting beat by Undertaker. But they already had a screwjob finish, no finish at Battleground, so they're going to have 2 pay-per-views in a row with screwjob finishes. To me, that's not a good idea. That's not a good thing to have be a pattern in WWE. But going back to earlier, they can get away with just about anything right now. They could probably do a screwjob finish at every pay-per-view for the rest of the year, and the core fan base will keep watching. I mean, that's just the reality of WWE, and maybe eventually their business will take a hit. It's hard to say, but maybe they'll just be able to keep getting away with it. I don't know. I mean, I wonder at what point is enough for fans and they're just going to start tuning out. I don't know if that'll happen because WWE is a monopoly and they've been around for so many years and they have such a strong brand that fans forgive WWE for mediocre storytelling. It is the way it is in WWE. But they could have done a tag match with Sting and Taker and had them win and then slowly tease dissension between the two of them leading up to WrestleMania. They could have done that. They could have done Undertaker versus Sting at SummerSlam instead of WrestleMania. That way Sting could have beaten Undertaker at SummerSlam rather than at WrestleMania. I got this question here from Crip Ken Stein. If Lesnar versus Taker, however illogical, a bad idea compared to, say, Lesnar versus Reigns or Lesnar versus Rollins in a random rematch, do you not think your complaints are those of a privileged man who doesn't have to determine a true draw for his company? Well, once again, people are going to tune into SummerSlam regardless of what the card is. WWE's brand name is so strong, they can take chances, but they choose not to. I'm on the side of WWE trying to build new stars. I would rather see new stars built than relying on the same names from the past to carry your pay-per-view events. If it was me, I would have gone with Lesnar versus Rollins at SummerSlam as the main event, or I would have gone with Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I would have had Roman Reigns cash in Money in the Bank, and then you could have done Lesnar versus Rollins and had Reigns come in and cash it in, and you would have karma where Reigns would cash in on Rollins and beat Rollins. That way Brock would not have to take the fall, and Reigns would get his revenge. What goes around comes around. Or you could have done Lesnar versus Reigns, the rematch from WrestleMania, and Reigns got his win on Brock Lesnar, and you establish Roman Reigns as the top guy. I know that's not the most popular booking idea, but I don't know if there's anybody else who's ready for the big time. I mean, Reigns was really the closest thing to the next John Cena that WWE had. Unfortunately, they dropped the ball with how they portrayed him back in December and January, not making him really earn the title shot and earn the respect of the fans. You know, he just came back from injury, he cut the stupid promos, and then he won the Royal Rumble. And also bringing back Daniel Bryan was a problem as well, because when Bryan came back, everyone wanted to see that story be told. They wanted to see Daniel Bryan make his big comeback and win the title again at WrestleMania. So it was part the factor of Bryan coming back, and then just how WWE portrayed Reigns. But in the last several months, I feel that Reigns has gotten better reactions. He had that good match with Big Show a couple months back, and I thought that match was going to be a stinker. I would have gone with Reigns. I would have gone with the future rather than resort to the past. I would have put Undertaker in a supporting role, put him in there with Sting, put him in there in a tag match with Sting, have him and Sting team up against the Authority. There's so many different things they could have done. Do a 6-man tag team match. And with Undertaker on the card, I think Undertaker just being on the card would be good enough. He wouldn't necessarily have to be in the main event. But now they're doing Lesnar and Taker, and that's their decision. They feel that's best for business, and maybe it will be. I mean, the ratings were up a little bit. Not as much as I thought they would be, but they still have, I've gotten the comments from people. They still have another 4 weeks of build-up. So maybe things will work out. Maybe Undertaker is going to be in great shape for that match. Maybe that match will be way better than WrestleMania 30. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But right now, I'm just not feeling it. I feel they should have done something else for SummerSlam. But we'll see what happens. All right, one more question here, and this is kind of a difficult one to answer. This one comes from James Gregory Barr. What is your favorite Shawn Michaels match of all time, and why? It's tough because there's so many great Shawn Michaels matches. Number one for me, I think, would have to be Hell in the Cell, the very first Hell in the Cell match with Undertaker. All-time classic match. Close runner-ups would be the SummerSlam 2002 match, his comeback match against Triple H, WrestleMania 25 against Undertaker, and going way back to his first run, his match with Razor Ramon, the ladder match for the IC title at WrestleMania 10. I'll go ahead and do one more here from Raw is War 98. Hey Aaron, do you think Raven is underrated in wrestling? He did great in ECW and TNA, but it seems like he should have been pushed a lot harder in WCW and WWE. He had the mic skills and the wrestling ability. I think Raven was a really solid performer. To me personally, I wasn't a huge fan of his look with the t-shirt and the jeans, and he kind of set a trend with that. I know it's part of the whole grunge thing, and in the 90s, that was what was trendy, but I felt at the time that it was just very low rent. It didn't seem like a big-time superstar look. But that's just my opinion. I definitely feel WCW dropped the ball with him because he was getting good reactions in the company, and he was having really memorable matches. They even put him on the WCW Revenge video game cover. So it seemed like he had some momentum, and they never really capitalized on it. And he got frustrated, and he left. And I don't blame him because they had money with him, I think. He could have been a upper card superstar for several years in WCW, and they gave him that stupid storyline with the Sandman, and yeah, just didn't work out. But I do feel WCW missed the boat on him. WWE, I think by the time he had come back to WWE, he was already perhaps past his prime. But they perhaps could have done more with him as well. I have mixed feelings. I think Raven was a really good performer, and he should have been a bigger star on the big stage, but just didn't work out. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it with a friend. Anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out this video. Subscribe at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest WWE news and rumors, and the latest regarding SummerSlam as well. And of course, you can send your questions, spring.me/AaronRift. Send me the hard-hitting questions. Try to send in questions I haven't answered before. I know it's difficult with 660 videos now, but I'm looking for off-the-wall questions and hard questions that are not easy to answer, and questions that challenge my opinions on things. So get your questions in. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A video.